Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to share with you my 36 years of experience in the Army and take you through this journey of how joining the armed forces transformed my body, mind, and soul. As you're all aware, soldiers are revered in societies all across the world. Even our scriptures, like Gita, Bible, and Quran, eulogize the role of soldiers as protectors and preservers. It is not for anything else but certain obvious reasons why soldiers are placed on a pedestal all by themselves. And some of those reasons are, they are the upholders of the collective consciousness of our society. And in other words, they are also our moral compass. They are also employed as the last resort by the state, when all other options get exhausted. And last but not the least, they epitomize honor and a code of conduct for all of us to follow. This accolade that is accorded to the soldier is because of a life transformed during his service in uniform in protecting his nation. But before we analyze as to the whys and hows of this transformation, let us try and understand from a military man's perspective as to what is the deeper meaning of transformation as it relates to a man in uniform. I think it's a deeper, permanent, and an inner change that occurs for a higher purpose. We could also call it a paradigm shift in his consciousness. Now let us analyze as to what are some of those enabling factors which bring about this transformation. I have listed them out for you. The first being the system, which is actually the holistic training system that we have for soldiering and the art of soldiering. The next one is the integration process after this basic training. Thereafter, it is the pull of the uniform which becomes one of the enabling factors. And the last two factors that I've listed out for you are the idea of India for a soldier and this soldiering and spirituality being synonymous as I see it. I shall take them one by one and take you through. The system of holistic training is so scientifically engineered that every soldier who comes from his diverse background is amalgamated into one whole, along with all the others. And in my words, he becomes a universal citizen or a universal being. Thereafter, once he passes out from his training academy with a spirit of soldiering, having been put through the extremes of physical, mental, and emotional capacities that shapes him in the spirit of soldiering. As he passes out, he attains complete freedom from the limitations of his body and mind, from unpredictability and uncertainty, from the fear of failure, fear itself, and even death. After he passes out, he goes through an integration process, which is very specific in our context. Once he reports to his unit, where he's posted first, that process in our jargon is called taking birth. And the unit where he gets posted is called his parent unit. So therefore, it's an enduring parent versus a newborn relationship. It is a lifelong relationship and bonding that actually triggers his reactions when he's leading his men in battle and he doesn't think twice about laying down his life, if required, for a larger cause. The pull of the uniform for a soldier is another major enabling factor. The uniform for a soldier is actually his shield of consciousness. At one level, it identifies him within his service as to what is his role, but at a more deeper and significant level, it reminds him of the honor code and the code of conduct and the service before self that he must render when he is wearing that uniform. It also converts his actions into a sum total of being a karma yogi, which always reminds him of taking the right decisions and seeing them till the end with vigor and purpose. Next, we come to the idea of India. When I played my part as a protector and preserver, I did not relate to India for its physical and natural boundaries. I was more enamored by the idea of India, which meant the ethos and soul of our culture, which is that every soul is equal to another, and all of them put together form a larger family, which is enshrined in our ancient wisdom as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I also protected the idea of tolerance, the idea of equality, and the idea of acceptance as a soldier. Soldiering and spirituality, to me, is synonymous. The great wisdom of Gita was passed on in the middle of the battlefield to the greatest soldier of the day, Arjuna, by the Lord himself. Now, that is a pointer to what I'm trying to suggest. India has always followed the saint-soldier concept. If you look back to times immemorial, Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, and nearer our times, Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji, all exemplified the concept of saint-soldiering. The very idea of spirituality in a soldier is required in a model-day battlefield because he has tremendous powers of destruction at his command, and he must use this to attain to a power of discernment where he can use them in the right manner and for the right purpose. During my service career, I realized that every soldier, even unknown to himself, was undergoing a subtle consciousness shift, which was making him evolve, grow, and execute his functions at the spiritual plane, which was consistent with the role and responsibilities that he was to exercise during his service career in uniform. I would like to encapsulate this whole system of soldiering and spirituality with a few concepts. The first one being that as per our scriptures, it is after accumulation of our karmas that we are born as a human being. And thereafter, having been born as a human being, to take up the most exalted vocation of being a soldier, I think if we put these two things together, 1 + 1, the soldier has already attained immortality or nirvana. And thereafter, there is nothing else left for him but to operate from a higher plane of consciousness. Secondly, I feel that a soldier is born twice, with a significant uptick in his consciousness during his service career in uniform. As a corollary to this, and if we go back to our scriptures again, every time a human being is born, his soul is renewed. And a soldier, therefore, renews his soul twice in a single birth. I also feel, at a metaphorical level, that the blood group of a soldier changes from the usual blood groups that we have to the blood group of the color of his uniform. For instance, I in the army have a blood group of olive green positive. And my DNA also got re-engineered during my service career. If this transformation has occurred, it must manifest itself in the military leadership. So how does it do it? I feel there are three major outputs in this regard that a military leader displays. The first of them, I would call it the factor of what you see is what you get. A military leader who has to lead his men into battle and to potential death must be able to merge his projected image with his real image, because from there only he can lead his followers. The second, he must epitomize the service motto of service before self. And lastly, he must operate with respect to his men that he commands from a plane of spirit, consciousness, and emotion, as opposed to reason, rationale, and logic. This then is how I thought my body, mind, and soul got transformed. And those of you who are planning to join a service career in uniform must be prepared for getting their DNA re-engineered. I'm sure someday the scientists will prove this assertion correct. Thank you, and Jai Hind.